Hello, hello, guys. Welcome to our workshop for today. If you take a look at the description on this video, as y'all are jumping on, we're actually welcoming in Mercury Retrograde today. We had a little change of plans, and so we're going to be actually changing the topic for today. But what I want to do is get this shared out, if I can, into a couple other places so everybody sees it. And then once I have some people jumping on, I'll get into the explanation and we'll get going. Okay, let me see if I can. Dun, dun, dun. Get out of this. Everything is going slower today, which is another welcome to Mercury Retrograde thing. So this may take me a second, but hopefully not too long. Let's see. See if I can do this. Dun, dun. Okay. And y'all let me know as you jump on. If I don't see you, tell me that you're there. Hello, hello. Oh, hey, Jennifer. I'm just going ahead and posting this into a couple of different places so people can see it and get to it. Let's see. Go to one more place. Da-da-da. How's your week going? Hey, I'm glad your dog is okay. I'm glad that that scare turned out okay. Okay. So we'll get started in a minute here. I want to see if a few more people jump on. Y'all let me know who it is as you jump on. And tell me also, can you hear me okay? Last week I did just straight into the computer mic and it seemed okay, so I'm going to try that again today. So tell me if you can't hear me, but hopefully it'll be fine. So, oh no, your cold is bronchitis? Yikes. That's, mine always, if I get a cold, it always settles in my throat. But yeah, and your chest stinks too. I know you've got all your essential oils. That Breathe Again, that roller ball, which I don't have right here because it's still packed up, but that's what I took with me on my, hey Jen, that Breathe Again is what I took with me on my trip skiing because I was having that like not as easy breathing because of allergies. And so then getting up and doing a lot of strenuous activity was just not easy. But anyway, so rolling that on helps. So if you have Breathe Again, or if you look up the oils in that might help. Jen, so glad you're here. Yay. So I guess you've clicked through, if anybody else jumps onto either, I posted this in the Creativity Club and I posted it in the Onward and Upward group. If y'all are over there looking at it, click through to get to Lula May Design so that I can see your comments, because otherwise you may be commenting and I may not see them. So both of y'all, I'm sure, can tell if you read the description. Today was supposed to be Reiki 101 with Tracy Kelly of Lotus Heart Crystals and Healing, which I was super excited about. Tracy is who I studied Reiki with, and she is a fantastic person, as you guys know. However, unfortunately, she has been having these migraines recently, and she had a really, really bad one today. It's so bad that she's at the doctor now. So she is trying to get that figured out and hopefully get some more answers and not just keep trying to do what she's always done in the past, which hasn't been working for a while. So she's going to take care of that, and then we will replan another time to interview her, and then we'll let everybody know, and we'll send out the invites again. But I thought it was not ironic, I guess, apropos that we had this issue today on the beginning of Mercury Retrograde. So I thought, well, that's my inspiration for what I'm going to talk about instead. So I wrote a little bit, just a very simple and yet hopefully very helpful workshop on how to use Mercury Retrograde to your benefit, right? So rather than fear of Mercury Retrograde, how can we actually take this opportunity to go with the flow and use it to help us? So this should be some really powerful insight, especially if you tend to just try to ignore that it's happening, or if you tend to just curl up in a ball and wait till it's over. So, Jennifer, yeah, so I mean, I feel terrible for her that she's got this migraine, but I'm hopeful that this has come to a head and is causing her to get it taken care of, to go to the doctor, see if they can do some blood work and find a new answer. So hopefully it will end up as a positive. So I am going to, Jennifer, I assume you're saying you don't understand Mercury retrograde, which is totally fine. I was one of those people who just thought for a long time, if I ignore it, then it won't affect me. That, of course, is obviously not true. It's anytime planets are moving closer or further from each other, we are affected. So I am going to give a little bit of an explanation, and then we will dive right in. But first, y'all know that I love to start with an affirmation. So I created one just for this thing today. Valor is what I'm going to use. Which is one of my favorite oils for enhancing communication. You'll understand why in a minute. But use my Valor oil. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just say it, and y'all can repeat with me. I release my fear of Mercury retrograde. I release my fear of Mercury retrograde. I release my fear of Mercury retrograde, or your lack of understanding, or your resistance, whatever that may be. I choose being open and making the most of every opportunity it brings. I choose to be open and make the most of every opportunity it brings. I believe I can be open and make the most of every opportunity it brings. I believe I can be open and make the most of every opportunity it brings. I manifest being open and making the most of every opportunity it brings. I manifest being open and making the most of every opportunity it brings. Okay, so here's where we're going to start. Mercury retrograde happens 3 to 4 times a year. I think it's usually on average 3 times a year. And it is, right now it is March 22nd through April 15th. So it's a 3-week time span. So it's a large chunk of time. This is why it's important to understand what's happening. It's not like, 3 days of kind of a rough patch and then it's gone. This is 3 weeks, almost a month of time. So what is Mercury retrograde? So a retrograde, okay, is, hello, whoever's there, let me know. Mercury retrograde is where any planet, so let's say Earth for our purposes, Earth catches up to another planet and is going slightly faster, and therefore that other planet actually looks like it's going backwards. It looks like it's moving in retrograde, right? So when you have, let's say you're on a train, okay, and you pass another train, or you're in a car and you pass another car, or even like when you're in the car wash, and it feels like the thing is moving behind you because it's moving slower than you are, right? So as you pass another car, it looks like that car is moving backwards, but it's just that you're going faster. Both cars are still moving forward. It didn't brake and go in reverse. You're just moving faster than it. So that's what retrograde is. It looks like we catch up to Mercury. Hold on, okay. We catch up to Mercury, and it looks like it's standing still, and then we're going faster, so we pass it, and it looks like it's going backwards. So for those who just joined, I can't see who it is, but hello, y'all can let me know. We are doing Mercury retrograde today instead of the Reiki 101 because Tracy has a migraine, so we're going to reschedule that. But if you're interested in Mercury retrograde, hang in here with me because it's going to be a fun one. So, and if you don't know anything about it, feel free to raise your hand. Jennifer is already saying she doesn't know, and that's fine because I'm going 101 with this. Okay, so what does retrograde mean? If you think about it's easy to ignore that as kind of an astrology thing or a woo-woo thing or a holistic thing, and you want to be doing science stuff. But I want you to think about one of the main effects that we talk about with Mercury retrograde is technology issues, is issues with your computer, with your internet and all that stuff. Now, we have satellites, okay, that are orbiting Earth, and they're all up there in space. And as the gravitational pull and all of the forces of these different planets move around, that affects our satellites. That is why our internet gets affected and our technology gets affected during Mercury retrograde. So you could go down a giant rabbit hole of Mercury retrograde and all of the science behind it, or you can just pay attention over the next 3 weeks and feel the effects. Okay. So the classic effects of Mercury retrograde are things like miscommunication and delays. Things that you thought would go quickly, things that you thought were coming to fruition that seem to take longer. or miscommunication either in terms of technology not working well or communication between different people. So Mercury is the planet or the sign or whatever of communication. Mercury is the, I'm going to lose the word so somebody can tell me the word, the messenger. And so that is where in astrology, this becomes about communication in terms of people to people. In terms of science, it's like the moon and the tide, okay? Any change in vibration, in pressure, in atmosphere, in magnetic pull and all that stuff, right, is going to affect you and the environment around you and the people around you. And the more people are being affected by something, which in this case is everyone, the more it's going to affect you. So even if you are just trying to put your head down and be like, Mercury retrograde doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, all of the people around you are being affected by it, you are going to be affected by it. So we might as well know what's going on and use it to our advantage. So most people who, a lot of people I would say, use Mercury retrograde as an excuse to not get anything done or to be in fear. Okay, they say, well, I can't put any new items in my shop, or I can't launch a new idea, or I can't deal with this issue with this person because it's Mercury retrograde. So I'm just going to do nothing, right? I'm just going to hole up and watch Netflix and wait for it to be over. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You want 3 times a year to lose 3 weeks? No, of course not. So what are the things that actually are better to be doing during Mercury retrograde? What is it boosting that you can actually use to your advantage? And that's what we're going to go into. So rather than looking at the negative, let's look at the potential for positive that we can get from Mercury retrograde. And here are 4 things, and we'll delve into them, each of them a little bit more. Here are 4 things that you get with Mercury retrograde that you don't necessarily get the rest of the year. So it can boost your ability to find what was lost, okay? This could be physical, mental, or emotional. It could be your car keys. It could be resurfacing a passion for something that you had fizzled out, right? Finding what was lost. 2, reconnecting with old friends, with old connections, business connections or personal connections, with old opportunities that you thought had gone by. You hadn't heard from this person in 4 weeks, and they were supposed to do this project with you, and they just dove off the face of the earth. They may resurface during this time, okay? 3, revising current projects and finishing them up. So the project that you're just stuck on, being able to work through it and get it finished. 4, resurfacing old projects or passions. So finding what was lost, this old project that suddenly you're re-inspired, or this old passion that you suddenly dig back up. You haven't oil painted in months and months and months, in years even. And suddenly you just really, really want to pick up your oil paints and do a painting, right? And also for taking a better look, a better look at something old that didn't work before. And now is your second chance to resurrect this and make it work this time. So let's take a look at how this time of resurrection and revision, how you can actually grab hold of that and use it to your advantage over the next 3 weeks, okay? For anybody who's joined me not on Lula May Design, click through, make sure you're on the video so I can see your comments, because I will ask questions and I want to be able to see everybody, okay? So 1, friends and family. Friends and family. So I am not the best at communicating with friends and family. I don't do well with phone calls because I'm just busy all the time, right? I run a business, I run 3 businesses, and I work part-time, and I want to spend time with my boyfriend, and I like to travel, and I just don't make the time that I should make to call people or even to text them and check in and see how they're doing, right? This is my moment to stop and say, you know what? I'm not going to be getting all of this new stuff done that I might have planned on, so now is the perfect time to just stop and check in on all of those people that I should have been checking in on anyway, but I haven't. So reconnecting, slowing down, taking the time to invest in those relationships that may have fallen by the wayside just due to your busy schedule or their busy schedule, or you never know, like miscommunications that happen, whatever the case may be, right? Now is your time to slow down, because that's what Mercury retrograde is doing, creating delays, creating time lags. It's creating extra time for you that you can't spend on the things that you thought you were going to do, right? You keep getting sidetracked, or things don't work out or whatever. Just stop, go with the flow, say, look, that's not working. What are some other things that I can pay attention to that I haven't had time for? And one of those would be communicating with old friends and relatives. And you may discover that there was something that you guys were going to do together that all of a sudden that passion is reignited, and that'll go into one of the other ones we'll talk about. But even just checking in on them, seeing how they're doing, now is the time for that. Second one, an abandoned project. Okay, so you started a project and either you hit a road bump and so you gave up on it, or you know, people told you it wasn't going to work and so you lost your confidence, or you put it out there into the world and then it just didn't take off like you thought it was going to, and so you just kind of let it, you know, float to the wayside, right? These old projects, now is a good time to revisit them. Essentially, and pay attention to this, so if Mercury retrograde is about crossing wires and communication being messed up, being twisted, being turned, right? Where the communication that you thought you were going to have is not going through straight. What this means is there's all of these other lines of communication that are actually opening up. Unexpected communication. So this unexpected person to resurface from the past, or an unexpected insight. You're basically, if a line of communication is going, you know, to the side or curving or turning, that's actually opening up more interesting ideas, resurfacing, finding things, revisiting. And so in the terms of an old project, you can look into that old project and suddenly you may be able to see, well, that's where I went wrong. Like I went to all of this trouble, but then I never sent an email to tell people about it. And I didn't really follow up afterwards. I was so excited about the thing that I just put it out there. Or let's take a non-business thing. Let's take, you know, I tried to go to the gym and it just never worked. Well, now might be the time to say, well, why didn't that work? So what was it about that I just couldn't get into it? And you realize maybe that you didn't even know why you were going to the gym. You just thought it was kind of healthy, but you didn't have a why. You didn't have a reason, right? But now it's the end of winter and you know spring is coming, and you know that you're going to want to get out and be active and have fun, but you feel so sluggish from sitting around all winter. So maybe now your why is, well, I want to be in shape for like biking season and the beach and all that stuff. And maybe that will get you excited about going back to the gym, right? So anything, it's time to just take a look back. Go through your Rolodex, go through your, you know, your old files, go through, like for me, all of my bazillion notebooks, go through the things that you kind of set to the side of your desk in that messy pile, and go through and look at them and see if you can kind of decipher, oh, this is what I hadn't known before that now I know, and I can pull this back up, I can resurrect this and make something wonderful out of it, right? So once you get that second chance, you may be able to turn what was a kind of half success or a non-success or a failure into a success this time around. Number 3, feeling stuck. Okay, so if you are stuck in a current project or current focus, so you know that diet, the gym thing, or you know, a new business line, or you were trying to, you know, launch a Facebook group and it didn't work or something like that, right? You're stuck in this current project and you're kind of just feel like, oh, it's just the drudge. It's just really, really, really feels like a drudge. Okay. I want you to tell yourself, look, so Mercury retrograde is not a great time to be launching something. So good news, I got 3 weeks of cushion here to really feel like, okay, you know, Erin is saying maybe don't launch till April 15th. So I've got some cushion, but I also have a deadline, because once Mercury retrograde is over, you have all of that energy again. So it's a great time to launch soon after Mercury retrograde. So now is your time to button everything up, to see that there is an end in sight. If I can just get through these 3 weeks, then I'm going to have a launch that's really fantastic, right? If I can just go to the gym every day for these 3 weeks, even though I don't love it, you know what? I know by the end of these 3 weeks, I'm going to see these results, right? So basically, giving yourself a chance to step back and say, okay, what do I need to do to complete this project? And what am I not seeing? How have I gotten so just like blinders on, moving ahead, that I'm not looking at all of the opportunities around me, that I'm not seeing, I'm not looking for inspiration, and I'm not looking for synchrodestiny. Synchronicity is a word that I like, right? You're not actually paying attention to the universe giving you signs or giving you help or giving you information. You're just like down here digging in the dirt. And now is a good time to say, I got 3 weeks to pull my head out of the sand and look around and see, okay, what am I missing? Where is the help that I know that I need but I haven't gotten yet? Where is it? Allow yourself to be more open to inspiration and to just help out of nowhere, right? because it's not, right now, it's not coming in the usual manner. It's coming from these weird other directions, okay? And then the fourth one, and I wanted to leave this till last because I want to stay on this for a little while. Finding what was lost, okay? So in finding what was lost, I do not just mean finding your car keys or that sweater, you know, that you couldn't find all winter long and all of a sudden it's going to pop up. I mean, that may happen, but like, what does that really do for you, right? The more important things are what are the other things that we've lost. We got our head, you know, down in the sand and we're just digging and we're just trudging and we didn't pay attention to what was going on around us. And not only did maybe we lost our way, maybe we were working so hard that we realized our goal was up here and we ended up over here, right? With all this effort, didn't actually get us where we wanted to go. Or let's say, what if it's a money opportunity? We all love these, right? We can all use a little bit of financial abundance. What if it's that rather than just you weren't paying attention to what you were working on, but you weren't even paying attention to all the financial opportunities that were coming your way? What about maybe someone who you talked to about a job opportunity, or you talked to about doing a special order for them, and you talked to about something a while back, and then it just never materialized, and you kind of didn't want to push it, so you gave up on it. Be willing to and open to the concept that that might come back. It might be now is the right time. Now is the right moment where before wasn't. So you may find those financial opportunities that you've been waiting around for, as a lot of us have been waiting all March, right? It's been already a slow month. I know it always is at the beginning of the year. Maybe those opportunities jump out. As long as you're waiting for them, as long as you're looking for them, then you will be open to grab those opportunities. It could be a passion. It could be that, you know what, you've even been down here in the sand. Not only you're not seeing opportunities, but you have just dug yourself into this hole of just frustration over what you're supposed to be doing with your life. You have been working so hard to lose weight that just every day is miserable, because every day is just like, oh, I have to eat more celery, right? Or go to the gym one more time, or, oh my goodness, if I post on Instagram one more time, I'm going to kill myself, right? You just get into this phase where nothing is exciting because everything is I have to do it right now or else bad things happen, right? Where you just feel like if I don't do everything perfect, then I'm not going to get the result that I want. That's never true. It's almost never true that the thing that you put the most perfectionism into is the thing that works out the best, right? That goes for diets, that goes for business, that goes for relationships. It's really the state of mind that you're in. So rediscovering the state of mind that is excited, that is passionate, that is inspired will get you much, 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 much farther than doing one more Instagram post, than eating one more piece of celery, than going to the gym one more time. Reopening your ability to understand why you want to do this, right? To get excited about it. That excitement translates so much further to your own soul and to the people you're trying to communicate with than all of the perfectionism and the words that you use can ever do, right? And then how about it could just be yourself? So I've given you a couple of different ways of saying this, but really, 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 you could have lost yourself. And you could have lost yourself for a month, for a week, or for years. And you never take the time to uncover yourself. You never take the time to dig down and pull yourself out from the rubble of your life, right? If I just keep going, I'll make it to the end of the week, I'll make it to the end of the month, it's going to be okay. But we don't want it to be okay. We want it to be amazing and fantastic and abundant and vibrant and all of those things, right? So in this time where it's hard for you to trudge forward, it's hard for you to just make it happen and go as fast as you can and just say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Sit back, relax, and just actually spend some time with yourself. As communication with the outside world is a little bit harder during Mercury retrograde, stay in here and communicate with yourself, right? And say, you know what? Maybe I've just gotten so bogged down that I've forgotten why I'm even doing this. Why am I going to the gym every day? Why did I start this business? Why did I agree to do this project? Why do I still work for this company? Whatever it is, why, right? you may have lost that why in the what and the how of the doing. And what about even having lost what the goal was? The goal was, at the beginning of starting a business, the goal was to help people. And now it's been to pay your monthly mortgage, right? And that's no fun. I mean, we don't want to focus on our mortgage. We want to focus on helping people. So what's the difference between paying your mortgage and helping people? It's the mindset. It's the attitude. It's the joy, right? It's the focus. It's not that you won't still have to post to Instagram, and it's not that you won't still need to make connections, and it's not that you won't still work hard, but it's what is in your head every day as you do this, right? What's inside your head when you show up to work, whether you work for yourself or you work for somebody else, you control this, okay? So finding why you're here, finding what your goal is, and focusing in on that makes all of the whats and the hows so much more meaningful, and gives those power back to those things. So that is what you have a moment to do, is go back and find yourself. Go back and find your why. Go back and find your passion. Go back and find those old projects that you didn't have what you needed to complete them, but you've grown for the past 6 months, 8 months, past week, whatever it is, and go look at them again, and I bet you'll be able to find some of the flaws in that original design that you couldn't see because you just didn't have the knowledge and you didn't have the expertise to see it back then, right? So now is your chance to stop, drop, and soul search, okay? Stop, drop, and soul search. And how do we do that? How do you do that, okay? I want you to realize that it is not too late to live the life that you want to live. It is not too late to ask yourself, what do I want? And work towards that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how many times you have tried and failed. It is never too late to ask yourself, what do you want? Why are you here? And what are you going to do about it? And so if you will take the time to ask yourself those questions, you will regain the power behind your action. And then by April 15th, once that moving forward momentum comes back, you'll be raring to go. You will have all of the mindset for all of the forward motion, because you have 3 weeks to get there, right? You have 3 weeks to recover your passion for this project that you're working on. You have 3 weeks before you have to launch anything new. You have 3 weeks to go dig up that old stuff. So as I've given you all of these examples, I would love to know what's coming up for you. Is there anything that surfaces as I give these examples? Is there anything, mind, body, spirit, emotions, that you think, I did lose that, or I did get sidetracked, or I didn't take time for this thing? Is there anything that suddenly your synapses are firing and you're realizing, uh-oh, I know an opportunity because I've been ignoring it, or I've been closed down, or I've had my blinders on? Any opportunities that you guys can think of that you hadn't thought of before? And if y'all are, I'm going to give you a second to answer me. And if you're on another page, click through to the video so that when you comment, I can see it. I'm going to give y'all a second to come up with something for me. And then I'll give you my examples. So it could be an old project that you've just remembered. Oh boy, I was so mad when that didn't work out. A person you need to go back and communicate with, that you need to check in with. It could be an opportunity that just kind of went by the wayside and you don't know what happened. Maybe you need to check back in on that. It could be an emotional thing, right? You just don't feel like yourself and you need to reconnect with that. Any examples that you guys have? And I'm going to make sure I can see all of your comments. I think I can. Drop and soul search. Okay. Sorry. Hearing myself talk. Okay. So Elizabeth, make sure I get everybody. Okay. Yeah. I feel burned out and depressed and tired lately. Okay. So now is your chance, rather than just saying, as a lot of times you have to, a lot of times you have to just suck it up and move forward, right? You just feel like there's just not time for me to stop and figure this out. Now is your moment to stop and say, why? What happened? Why do I feel this way? I feel burned out depressed and tired, and you have every right to feel exactly how you feel. There is a reason for it. You're not crazy. You're not lazy. There's nothing wrong with you, right? There is a reason that your body is speaking to you this way. Your body is exhausted because you've exhausted it. You're burnt out because you burned yourself out, right? You're tired because you're not getting the rest you need. But what's the underlying cause of that? And it's not, honestly, something that anyone is doing to you, right? It's either choices you're making or it's a mindset that you have, okay? So if you use this time to realize, let me take back control of my situation. Let me not just keep moving forward and reacting to what's happening around me, but let me uncover myself. And by that, I mean uncovering your power to make decisions, right? So, you know, if you're burnt out because you're just doing this thing you don't love anymore and you're just so frustrated by it, but you're continuing to do it anyway, okay, that's a choice that you're making, right? You're choosing to do things that you don't like rather than reevaluating and seeing, do I need to look at this from another angle to recover my passion for it? Or is this a sign that I've actually grown past this thing, that I need to move on to something better? And really only you can answer those questions, but all of that information is your body, mind, spirit, soul, all that is speaking to you. And to ignore it is going to continue to leave you in that pattern, right? There's no way out of that pattern except to take a look at it, take all that information, accept it for the reality that it is, and then move forward. And that does not mean saying it's bad. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad about whatever choices that you have made. Don't feel that you're not a good person or that you could have done better. You are exactly where you are. And all that you can do is say, this is an opportunity. Like I said, the possibility of Mercury retrograde, everything, whether it feels good or it feels bad, is an opportunity for you to see, this is not what I want. Why do I not want this? What do I want? Why do I want that? And head in that direction, right? Okay, Jennifer, I haven't been able to write a pattern I've been trying to write. So what you can do is stop and say, okay, is it the pattern writing or is it this one? And really probably the answer to either of those is go do something else. Anything else that you haven't taken time for because you just thought, I just got to get this pattern out. I just got to get this pattern out. It's like when you can't remember someone's name, right? And you're like, what was that guy's name? What was that guy's name? What was that guy? And then, of course, you can't think of it because you want so badly to think of it that you freaked yourself out that you can't remember it, right? And as soon as you move on and you start going and watching TV, and then all of a sudden, there's the guy's name, right? Just like, where did that come from? So what if you, you've been thinking about doing a better job at Pinterest? Well, go research Pinterest for 3 days. You've been thinking about reviewing your copy. You've been thinking about getting more sleep, doing a better job of going to the gym, right? You've been thinking about spending more time with your family. Whatever it is, stop, okay, and soul search, and stop, drop, and soul search, and then whatever the answer is, whatever that gut level answer is, follow that, okay? Because it's probably not, I would love to sit here for the rest of my life until I get this done. It's probably like, the last thing in the world that you actually want to do is that, and what you're thinking is, I just want to eat an ice cream bar. Or what you're thinking is, I just wish that the weather was warm and I could go outside. Or, I just wish that I had time at the end of the day to do the things I want. Do that thing that you want to do, okay? Move over, do something else, pull the energy away from that negative thing, away from that frustration, and then once you have been away from it long enough that frustration is no longer there, then come back to it and see if you're inspired. Or maybe while you're eating your ice cream cone or while you're at the beach or whatever, all of a sudden you'll be like, you know what, all I want to do is go back and work on that. So I write to-do lists, and I love to-do lists, but generally my to-do lists are for 3 days at a time. And all of that is pretty flexible because I like to follow my passion at the moment. So I may take photos of jewelry on there for 3 days in a row. And day 1, nope, not feeling it. Day 2, nope, not feeling it. Day 3, nope, not feeling it. It may be day 4 before I get to it. But I'm not going to take those photos while I don't want to do it because the quality of the photo is not there, right? Any creative thing that you're doing, the quality is not there. You will write a better pattern if you wait and come back to it later. That's just the truth of the matter. You will write a more inspired pattern and one that will sell better if you give yourself the room to move away from that and then come back to it. Because there's never any, you never have a lack of things to do, right? You never, never, never run out of things to do. And because, Jennifer, I know you're very in tune with yourself and you spend the time meditating and all that stuff, if you don't want to do it, if it's just blocked, then you know exactly what to do. You get out of the way, right? Go recenter yourself. Maybe meditate a second time. And when you come out of that, you'll be inspired to do something. And it might be write that pattern, but it's probably going to be something totally different. Write your first blog post, something totally random. Whatever it is, follow that trail. And you will be able to get back to the pattern, but allow that to sit still for a while and then come back to it. If anybody else has any examples, or if either of you ladies, Jennifer or Elizabeth, if y'all have a follow-up, a thought, or a question, if you have more details now that I've given you that answer and you think, well, that's not right because of XYZ, I didn't tell her this part, tell me that too and we'll get back to it. But I'll tell you mine. So actually, I want to make a caveat first. Mercury retrograde is not a great time to launch something, to put something out there into the world for the first time, because communication can be an issue, right? I do not mean, though, that you should not finish any projects. As we talked about, finishing up projects. So I have several of you guys that I know are getting ready to launch something. And you've been working on it for like 6 months, 8 months. I've been working on some things for a long time. Now is not the time to use as an excuse to not move forward with that. That's actually an old project to finish up. So like for me, I'm about to go into some brainstorming sessions for renaming my business, okay? So Lula May Design, as lovely as a name as it is, doesn't fit the level of knowledge and clarity and focus that I am now at in my business, right? It doesn't really say what I do. And that's really okay. As much as I hate to lose the name because of the sentimentality, that's something that needs to happen for me to be able to express what I want to say to the world, right? And so rather than me saying, oh, well, I can't change my business name because it's Mercury retrograde, this is exactly what I need to be doing, because I've been thinking about this for like a year, okay? And it's just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and annoying me and annoying me and annoying me. And so now is the perfect time to pull in some new people, look at it from a different direction, and open myself up to inspiration so that I can button that up, hopefully by April 15th, and be ready to go with starting the new chapter of my business, right? So I'm not really changing anything about my business, but I am allowing myself to look at how I should name it from a different direction. So that would be an example of going back to an old project or something that you know needs to change, or that you want to take a second look at, right? So I'm not saying don't do anything, but what I'm saying is look at things from a different direction, or go back and pull something in that you had to let go of. You know, it wasn't a good time to rename my business before, but now might be just the right time. Let's see, Jennifer, this is making so much sense. I feel like I'm getting a double hit with being sick and the retrograde. No wonder I am dragging. And exactly like I was saying to Elizabeth, your body is speaking to you, right? So your mind is not able to focus on writing the pattern, and your body has given you bronchitis. Now, I would say, if that were me, then my body is giving me an opportunity. Anytime your body goes through change, okay, your health is homeostasis. Health is balance. Change is either, I don't want to say retrograde, it's either decline or it's growth. Change is either decline or growth, and you don't know which it is until you get to the other side, okay? So bronchitis can be decline. It can be, oh, woe is me, I'm sick, and that sucks, and I'm going to be in lower health for a while. Or it could be your body is fighting off something, and it's regenerating cells in that area, and it's cleaning up stuff in that area, and you may get better lungs at the end of this than you had before, right? If you have these constant allergy issues, think about now as a time to allow your body the rest that it needs to heal your lungs in such a way that you get better lungs at the end of this than you did before. When I had tonsillitis, right, like last month, and I hadn't been sick for 2 years, but I went skiing while I had a cold, which is, of course, not a good idea, but I ended up with tonsillitis, and for like 2 weeks, I was just in bed. because I was determined I'm not going to take a antibiotic because that always makes me sick for months. I'm going to allow my body the chance to give me an even better throat than I had before. If I've got this coating and it's eating away at my tonsils, right? And I've got all this gross stuff and it's got to clean it up and all these white blood cells have got to get in there. I might as well get a better throat out of it. I might as well get a throat that can protect itself better. Jennifer, I think this is time for me to just let the creativity go for right now and just concentrate on filling my orders, which are mindless tasks. Getting them done will help me feel less stress. Yeah, and if you feel overloaded by that, then the joy and the creativity can slide because you just feel so obligated to those people, right? And you feel guilty no matter what you do. You feel guilty if you're filling orders because you're not doing creative stuff, and you feel guilty because you're doing creative stuff because you're not filling orders. Neither of those are a good thing. So allow yourself the ability, give yourself the space to do exactly what you need to do and what you can do and what your body is saying to do. So absolutely, you may, at the end of this, at the end of being sick and the end of getting through your pile of orders, you might end up with 3 different patterns that just pop out, right? If I put off doing a blog for like a month because I just can't, I don't know, there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there. And then once I just let go of it, like a couple of days later, I write 3 blogs. Because if you're not in the zone, you're not in the zone. And so trying to stay in that zone is just never a good idea. Jennifer, it actually sounds good because it's more relaxing for me. Perfect. So do what your body is telling you to do. Follow that path, and don't just be like, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed to do, because that doesn't ever work. And it especially doesn't work during Mercury retrograde. So pay attention, look at what's happening around you, take in that information, and use that to move forward, and allow yourself insight, but also allow yourself to just say, you know what, now is not the time for those things. Now is the time just to do exactly what my body is saying to do. Elizabeth, I keep trying to fix my tired ass by using supplements, and now I'm doing Rife therapy. I've been trying to do meditations, but I haven't been focused. So a few things. I could talk to you about supplements all day long and would love to if you want to message me. For the more information I have about like what's causing the tiredness, where it comes from, the more particular I could be for you for different things you could do for that. And having worked through hypothyroidism and now having the most energy I've ever had in my life, I feel very, very comfortable knowing that I could help you there. But the other thing is, be open to the fact that when you do holistic methods, it's not like taking medication in that covers up your symptoms. Like if you take Advil, the pain goes away, but that didn't actually fix what caused the pain, right? So allow yourself to be out of balance, out of homeostasis for longer than you think you should be, because like I said, again, you're either declining or you're growing, okay? And so if you have, like me, if you had a thyroid that was not converting T4 into T3, it was converting it into reverse T3, which meant that I was storing fat and I was losing energy because of stress. Okay, I had to go through a long, windy road to, first of all, figure that out, because most doctors don't understand that. And second of all, to then get my thyroid, to get it off of medicine and get it producing enough thyroid medication, because it had not had to for so long, and then get my stress levels down in order to not create negative T3, reverse T3. And so it's always steps, and sometimes it's worse before it gets better. And if you can hold on to the idea that I am changing and therefore I'm changing and therefore I have potential for getting better, right? Change is potentially growth, then that will help you a lot. The Rife biofeedback said I have parathyroid last scan. I'm just so frustrated with my health and being super freaking tired all the time, but we don't have insurance and I don't want to go to a regular doctor. Okay, I'm telling you, if you want to fix it, message me after this, because we can have all of the conversations. If it's hormonal, which is what your parathyroid would be, then you probably have a chain reaction of events that you have, that the doctor, no matter how wonderful they are, won't talk to you about all of your different hormones and all of your different glands. Okay, they won't talk to you about your adrenal and your pituitary and all of that stuff and help you figure out which of those is weak, which may be causing a change reaction, because almost never is your thyroid the first culprit. It's usually the second or third or fourth domino, and you got to figure out what the initial cause was, and it's almost always adrenal fatigue. And if you can work on that, then you will actually solve all of those symptoms by getting to the root cause rather than just your parathyroid, which is the thing that's most acute right now. Anyways, so I also had asthma issues because it's all right here, right? It's all the same area. So I'm happy to do a one-on-one. We can't really do it here because I'll have to ask you like personal health stuff, but I'm happy to chat with you about it. So I got off track. Anytime I talk about the thyroid, I get so excited. Okay, so basically now is the time to look for alternative answers that you have not gotten before, to look for things to resurface, to look for new things to pop up. And I want to talk for a second before we end this. We might actually end early, which would be fun. I always spend too long talking, but y'all know that I am all about crystals and essential oils. Those are my two chosen vibrational healing techniques that really, really, really work for me. And so I'm so comfortable expressing which ones can work for you guys. So let's get into that. Elizabeth, I will say real quick that meditation, it doesn't matter if you're focused, just doing it. Even if your mind wanders all over the place, sitting still and doing that will do you good. But we can talk more about it later. But as far as crystals and oils goes, okay, the oils for Mercury, the crystals for Mercury retrograde are going to be ones, first of all, grounding crystals, okay? So anytime that you're in a space of resistance or change or frustration or like basically just change. So what's happening as the can't get this on the screen. Okay, as the two planets go by each other, right? And then it looks like one is going behind. Okay, all of that is literal environmental change. Grounding crystals, feeling solid in the ground, is super important. It also, grounding helps release negativity, helps ground it. So if you think of being struck by lightning, right? If you're grounded, the lightning goes through into the ground. If you're not grounded, then it just stays in you, okay? If you have the grounding for those plugs for different electric appliances, that's to make them not have fuzz, to make them not have resistance, or mess up a frequency in the actual cord by grounding it into the ground and sending any extra energy down there. So anytime you ground, you're allowing any extra energy or negative energy to flow right through you and get out of your way. And things like onyx, garnet, hematite, really, really dark crystals, black or red, right, which are for the root chakra, those crystals are going to be the ones to use for grounding. Then let's talk about communication issues, right? My two favorite communication support crystals are Amazonite and aquamarine. And I'm wearing my aquamarine today. This is one of the first ones that I wrapped years ago, one of my favorites. Clear and calm communication, okay? It's not only that you want to have clarity because there's going to be communication misfires during this time, but also that you need to remain calm when things are not going well, right? When the internet is messing up on you and you're trying to do talk to someone or do a live video, or when you're trying to write a blog and the computer keeps freezing and the little spinny thing keeps going around and all this stuff, or when you're having a conversation with someone and you're just trying to explain it to them and they just don't get it right. Patience, okay? Patience and clarity are the two things that Amazonite and aquamarine are fantastic for. And then quartz and fluorite are great for clarity and for focus. So quartz, just that laser beam focus on exactly what it is you're trying to get done to help you from really not being dislodged too much by Mercury retrograde and being able to continue to move forward in some sort of a way and not just sit still the whole time, right? And fluorite, which is one of my favorites for really knowing yourself, inner knowledge, so that what I was saying about being able to uncover, to dig up yourself, your passions, your feelings about life, and take back your strength of your ability to make decisions and move forward in life. That's really what fluorite is for. So it's like an inner clarity. about your why, about where you're headed, about your own strengths. Okay. So grounding, and then the throat chakra stones, Amazonite and aquamarine for communication, and then quartz, right, for up here, and fluorite for clarity. And then essential oils. So essential oils, again, we're going to go through grounding, frankincense, cedarwood, and spruce. Basically any wood oil. Any oil that has to do with a giant tree with giant roots, keeping it down in the ground, that's the oil that you want, right? So frankincense is so fantastic for calm, for clarity, for focus even, okay? And then spruce is beautiful because it's one of the tallest trees. So you get those deep roots, and then you get the height of that spruce tree, so you can actually be grounded and still feel like you can be up here and thinking and all that stuff and having power, that, you know, sense of height, right? Without losing your grounding, without just being all up here and not having a base, not having a root system. Okay, communication support. So really, this is why I used, oh man, I hate this backwards thing. There it is, Valor. This is why I use Valor today. Valor and Indoflex were the first two essential oil blends that I ever tried. And they are my heart and my soul. I love them so much. Valor is really for strength of communication, so fearlessness, and just knowledge that what you're saying is what you need to be saying, right? And so that's why I love to use it before I get on these lives, because it's so easy to wander off, and it's so easy to, you know, wonder, like, are they getting what I'm saying, whatever, because I can't see you guys. But having Valor helps me to just stay in the moment and just know what I'm saying is what needs to be said. And so during Mercury retrograde, you're going to be doing a lot of communicating, and there's going to be a lot of people not understanding, and you just need to be able to stay grounded and centered and just keep communicating. So frankincense, blue tansy, geranium, and black spruce are what is in Valor. So you already see, right, with the frankincense and black spruce, you're grounded, okay? And then calming, okay, stress relief. Just don't worry about it. It'll be over in 3 weeks, right? Just go with the flow. Ylang ylang lavender blends like stress away and peace and calming. Just, you know, allow it to be okay. Allow yourself to be open to the possibilities, and also open to the fact that you may not get everything done you thought you were going to get done, but that's okay because you're going to get something else done instead. Hey, Chloe. Welcome, welcome. You can watch that back to the beginning later. We're almost done. But so then focus and clarity, okay? Focus and clarity. You could do the clarity blend, that would make sense, or common sense blend, that would make sense. But my very, very favorite, and I put that on my third eye before I got started, is brain power. This is like, you only need half a drop of this stuff, and it's just like bam. And all of a sudden, you can think. You can think clearly, you can get stuff done. You feel inspired and yet grounded and yet just like Superwoman almost. I don't think Jen is still on here, but this is one of Jen's favorite oils. And she messaged me like as soon as she tried it for the first time, she's like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing, right? So brain power for all times of life, but especially if you're feeling pulled in a bunch of different directions and you just still need to get this thing done. And it is sandalwood, cedarwood, frankincense, melissa, blue cypress, lavender, and helichrysum, okay? Helichrysum is fantastic for nerve support and brain support. And then you have all of those wood oils and the lavender stuck in there for calming. So it makes total sense. These blends, right, are all of these grounding and calming and focusing oils, and then you put them together and they're just even more powerful. So those are my recommendations for you guys. If you have anything, thank you, Elizabeth. I'm glad you love the talks. I always just say whatever I feel like I said, whatever I feel like I need to say, and I just trust that it resonates with you guys. If you have other questions about Mercury retrograde or about whatever the situation that you're in, right? Everything that I do is about helping you with your current life focus. So wherever you are right now, I'm always happy to give suggestions. I'm always happy to talk you through it. I'm happy to do a coaching call. I'm happy to do a quick chat through Messenger. Just really want to help you guys. So I just want you know, I don't know, Elizabeth, I don't know how much you knew about Mercury retrograde going in. Jennifer, I know that this was all new to you, so you've moved right past the fear of it and into the enjoyment of it. And anybody else who watches back, whether or not you embrace Mercury retrograde as a thing, if you pay attention for the next 3 weeks, you will feel it, and you'll feel the way that other people interact with you. And people who are in resistance to it, if you try and just be like a bull in a china shop, right, and just get all of the things done and come up with all the new ideas and launch all of the new businesses and start all the new diets and all this stuff, like, it's just not going to work. And you're going to get more and more and more and more and more frustrated. So what I want you guys to do is be open to unique possibilities and unique inspirations that you had no idea were coming. You have no reason to think that they're going to come to you, but they are, because the communication lines are just different right now. And then I want you to take time, okay, and do some soul searching. Do that meditation and just be okay if it's not high quality. If you don't feel like a guru, right? Like when I'm sick and I meditate, it just, you know, it's just not as good. It doesn't feel as good. It doesn't feel like I'm getting anywhere. But that's not the point. The point is to basically, you're just reaching a point within yourself that is not resistant. That's the idea of meditation. You have so much fear. You have so many worries. You have so much just preconceived notions about what is possible. All you're really trying to do is just be quiet enough that you get into a space where you just feel like it's okay. You know what? It's okay. And if you can get into that space, you have already done yourself so much good that you don't have to come out the end with, you know, with like the biggest inspiration or your next novel, or, you know, you don't have to be a guru at the end of this. It's really just to get to that place where you actually know that all of this stuff, the things that keep popping into your head are noise created by your brain, and it's not reality, right? Reality is that, like, I'm fine. Now, do I have all of the things that I want? No, but I have the ability to create all of those things. But if I keep getting in my own way, I will never get them created. And so meditating is a way to step to the side and get out of my own way and allow myself to be the amazing person that I can be, right? So that's it. I'm going to stop a couple minutes early because I need to drink some water. But let me know, guys, any other follow-up questions that you have, type them in here. Elizabeth, if you have time to chat, I'm free now, or you can just message me later, but I would be more than happy to help you get to the bottom of this exhaustion thyroid thing, because nothing makes me more happy than making people be healed from hormonal imbalances. It just makes me the most happy thing in the world. And that's it, guys. If you watch back and you're not here live with me, that's okay. Still write a comment and I will get back to you. And I hope that you have an incredibly pleasant and productive Mercury retrograde, and that this is the best one, even if it's the first one you're aware of, that it's the best one ever, and that you find things you thought you had lost, that you go back to things and you uncover them, that you reconnect with old people, and that you get all of your plans prepped and ready to go for whatever exciting thing is going to happen April 15th. So that is it, guys. I love you all very much. Anyone who watches this back, guys, if you love these workshops, we're doing them now in the group, in the Onward and Upward group. So join me over there, because I would love to have you in there. It's $5 a month, basically buying into yourself and your ability to change and your ability to get something out of this. So join me over there. Ask me questions if you have any. And then we will do the Tracy's interview in a few weeks. Once she's feeling better, she's gone on vacation, get some rest, and then we're going to do the Reiki 101, and we'll do that here again for everybody, okay? So I will talk to you guys later. Love you very much. Have a fantastic week. Talk to you soon. Bye.